fix that or try to.
All right.
So many. Hold on a second.
Welcome to Garden of the Spirit. I was class studying
So these are just
Orchard.
headphones.
Second time. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe, Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yisrael based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. And happy Pesach to all.
Happy Pesach.
Happy Pesach, happy Moed.
Okay. Here we go. Is this the right one? Uh-oh.
At the end of the back of the book.
Toldot.
Uh-oh. I may have lost the old one.
On page 1169.
That looks fine.
I think I lost the
No, that's right. You were right. That was
Tell
it.
you.
I didn't save as. I deleted my old file. Okay. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, let me. Okay. So we're up to, as Alan reminds us, we are at the back of the book, chapter 5 of Toldos. This is similar to what we learned the last time, or has similarities. Doesn't say which book it's from. Oh, it does say. Excuse me, it doesn't say from Lakutim. And the last one that we did, was also Sefer Lakutim. Okay. It's the same book as last time. This chapter shows how Yaakov corrected damage by Adam, specifically Yaakov. It looks specifically at the blessings Yaakov received from Yitzchak and finds a number of correlations between the blessings and the sin of the Garden of Eden. I'm going to refer to it here as either sin of the Garden of Eden, sin of the Tree of Knowledge. They're all synonymous. The Medrash tells of 39 curses as a result of the sin of the Garden of Eden. Actually, the Medrash, it's the book of Sioni. Book of Sioni. Hold on. Let's try to move us up a little. Let's go here. The book of Sioni, an explanation of the Torah, commentary of the Torah, and the true path of the scholar and holy man Rabbi Menachem. See, I guess his last name is Sioni. Son of Meir of blessed memory from this country of Spira. Anyone heard of that? Spyara.
Has Rudy heard of it?
Huh?
I asked Rudy, he's connected, but I don't think he's connected yet.
Or Spyra. And in Cremona.
Sparta?
Or Caramona. Of the King Philip. It looks like under the kingdom or duchy of Philip. They seen by Vincennes County. I think that's what it means. Let me get you guys, hold on. I have you guys blocking what it says. Okay, that's what it says about the book. I think it starts from the 1500s. I'm not sure.
Ask again, see if Rudy knows. He usually knows those places.
What?
No, I'm serious.
Paramona, Spira, Spyara.
Spyara? Wait, it's someplace in the Middle East?
No, probably Europe. Probably. I don't know. Okay, so that's the book of Tzioni. It tells of 39 curses as a result of the sin of the Garden of Eden. In other places, there's different medrashes with different amounts. 10 for Adam, 10 for Chava, 10 for the snake, and 9 for the earth. In different sources, the numbers are slightly different in other sources. In any case, the number 39 has special significance. And that's what we're focused on here. We're not looking at the details of exactly what the 39 are. We're just looking at the number.
39 malachas.
What?
39 malachas.
Yes. There are 39 forbidden works on Shabbos. For our concerns, it is the number of lashes a person receives for violating a prohibition in the Torah. 39 lashes. Number 2, in Hebrew, 39 is represented by the letters Lot, Lamed Tes. In Aramaic, this means curse. And 3, we can switch the letters and the value remains the same. How means do. Okay, so we'll leave this here for now. So it's 3 things. 39 lashes. We don't here speak about the 39 forbidden labors on Shabbos. 39 lashes for violating a prohibition. 39 lot is Aramaic, means curse. And tal, which is the dew. Okay, so we're going to begin Toldot, chapter 5, page 1169. Alan, please begin. Take it away.
Yaakov and Adam. His mother said to him, "Let your curse be upon me, my son. Just listen to my voice and go take the goats for me." When Rivka told her son Yaakov to disguise himself as Esav in order that Yitzchak bless him, Yaakov was afraid that Yitzchak would discover him and curse him rather than bless him. To this, Rivka replied, as above, urging her son to go procure for her 2 kid goats, whose hide she would use to cover Yaakov's arm, so that he would feel as hairy as Esav, and from which she would prepare the stew that Yitzchak had requested that Esav prepare for him. Know that when Adam ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he caused the world to suffer 39 curses, 10 for him and all men after him, 10 for Chava and all women after her, 10 for the snake and all snakes after it, and 9 for the earth, as our sages teach us.
Okay, read the footnote at the bottom.
Okay, there are a few versions of what these were. We have given the ones listed in Ervin and in Abot Daraba Natan, for 42 for Adam, the snake, and the earth. Okay, then in some midrashic sources known to us, 10 curses are enumerated for the earth as well, giving a total of 40. In some sources, Midrash HaGadol on these verse and Pirkei the Rabbi Eliezer, 9 curses each are enumerated for Adam, Chava, and the snake, and then death is added as the 10th for each. These sources do not enumerate the earth's curses, but it could be that the Arizal infers from these sources that the earth too suffered 9 curses, and that since death cannot be applied to the earth, its number of curses remain 9.
Okay, hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
that's what this is the Tziyun Sefer Tziyuni, which is which does write specifically 39. And I think the book is Imre Noam.
I don't, I just see the worksheet. I don't see the book.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you didn't get the pages?
No,
I did.
so I just want to show you guys what this looks like. Yeah, you
I
got the
think you
pages,
told me-
Abigail?
Yes.
Okay,
Thanks
thank you, Jim, for taking care of that.
very much.
Okay,
Hmm.
this is what the book looks like.
Oh, that. Okay.
I found it online within the last hour. And I looked this up a few years ago because I saw it referenced somewhere else. Okay, so this isn't, I guess, an old edition. And find anything online.
Mm.
A moment. And here. Our rabbis say that 10. One moment. It says in here that there's 39. He mentions our friend Sammy, the angel. Here are 39, and right here it starts saying what the 10 for the snake. Number 1, 2, 1. I guess that he was muted. 2, his hands and legs were cut off. 3, he eats dirt. And so on and so forth. And the last one is death. 10 decrees also on man. And so on. And the 10th one's death. Then it goes and so on. And then it has 9 for the last is 9 for the earth, 9 for the land. And that ends here at the end of the paragraph. And it's a quote from somewhere else. Ad kan lashon hagar. It's a quote of a note from somewhere. So anyways, this is the source for this idea. Okay, let's go back to Alan. You can go ahead and read
Okay.
the list of the 40.
In the following are the 10 curses suffered by Adam. 1, he would be stripped of his primordial garment. 2, he would experience pain earning his livelihood. 3, the food he ate would be turned into excrement within his body. 4, his children would wander from land to land. 5, his sweat would stink. 6, he would possess an evil inclination. 7, his body would be eaten by worms when he died. 8, animals would be able to kill him. 9, his days would be few and full of trouble. And 10, in the world to come, he would be held accountable for all he did during his lifetime. The following are the 10 curses suffered by Chava. 1, she would menstruate. 2, she would bleed when engaging in marital relations for the first time. 3, she would raise her children in pain. 4, she would experience pain in conception. 5, she would experience pain in childbirth. 6, she would yearn for her husband when he is about to set forth on a journey. 7, she would not be allowed to ask for marital relations explicitly, only through hinting. That's 7, yeah. 8, when married, she would be required to cover her hair. 9, she would be forbidden to marry more than one man. 10, she would be required to abstain from socializing with male society. The following are the 10 curses suffered by the snake. 1, he would be deprived of his power of speech. 2, his hands and feet would be cut off. 3, the earth would be his food. 4, he would suffer great pain in shedding his skin. 5, enmity would exist between him and human beings. 6, whatever he would eat would change into dust in his mouth. 7, the pregnancy of the female serpent would last 7 years. 8, Men would try to kill him as soon as they caught sight of him. 9, even in the future world where all beings will be blessed, he would still suffer these curses. And 10, he would vanish from the land of Israel if the Jewish people would follow Hashem's commandments fully. The following are the 10 curses suffered by the earth. 1, it would have to rely on rainwater rather than only the water table for moisture. 2, its fruits would be subject to disease. 3, the grain it brings forth would be stricken with blasting and mildew. 4, it would produce all sorts of noxious vermin. 5, it would be divided into valleys and mountains. 6, it would grow barren trees. 7, it would sprout thorns and thistles. 8, it would produce much less than what is sown in it. 9, in the world to come, it would have to disclose the blood of those slain upon it. 10, it would one day wither like an old garment. I thought it was only 9 by the earth, though.
There are different counts.
Yeah.
The one that the source of 39 is the book of Sioni. It apparently, I'm guessing Rabbi Wisniewski wasn't aware of that, didn't find it, but it has a different list, a similar list, but it's not identical.
Yeah.
So, interesting. There we have that.
And it says about Rabbi Natan has 42.
Yeah. In version 1.
In version 2. Second version has 42.
Correct. Yeah. The second version has 42.
Right.
This list appears in the first version of Avos Rav Nosson. Avos Rav Nosson is a book of Pirkei. It's like Pirkei Avos,
Mhm.
but it was taught by Rabbi Nosson, and it has a lot of chapters. Instead of just 6 chapters like the Pirkei Avos we know, it has a lot more detail, and it follows the same idea, but it's just much more. There's a lot more in it, as you can see. Okay, so let me see what we should do next. Okay, number 3. Nope. Hold on.
Should I read the next one? We already did that.
No, let me do 3. There are 10 songs in Tanakh. 9 of these have already been sung, such as the Song of the Red Sea and Shmos, the songs of David, which is at the end of the book of Shmuel, and the Song of Devorah. So we're familiar with some of these or many of them. The 10th song will be sung when Mashiach will arrive. Guess what? That song is actually already written. It's in Yeshaya chapter 26. Near the end, in Pasuk 19, it says, "May your dead come to life. May my corpses arise. Awake and shout for joy, you who rest in the dirt. For your dew is like the dew that revives vegetation. May you topple the lifeless," which means the wicked, "to the ground." You can look up the whole song yourself if you'd like to. This dew is known as the Tal Tchia, the reviving dew. It was used to revive Bnei Yisrael when they collapsed upon hearing Hashem speak, 10 commandments. There are 39 lights that emit from Arech Anpin. I haven't seen this before. This is new to me. When a person sins, he forfeits these 39 lights and is therefore punished with 39 lashes. When Adam ate from the tree of knowledge, he lost these 39 lights and the reviving dew and brought mortality into the world. Again, the Hebrew word at the end of 2, we mentioned that the Hebrew word for dew is tal, which is 39, the number of curses in the garden as a result of the Garden of Eden. So we go from curses in Garden of Eden to 39 to the dew, which we go to the word lot, lamites, lot, which means curse, But then it also brings us to the word tal, which is do. We talk about do. It is it's very positive. The do is the tal. It's the highest of do is the do that is used to revive for Tchias HaMesim, to revive the people who have died, and also by the way, also the Gemara says that it's possible that the rain will stop. It doesn't rain, but there is Hashem made a covenant with the dew that the dew doesn't stop. Okay. One moment, please. Hold on, Ellen. Okay, Jim would like to continue page 1171 at the top.
Their number 39 is the same number of lashes given to someone who transgresses a positive commandment.
Passive.
Passive. You're right. Passive commandment. This is because on account of his sin, he forfeited the 39 lights that descend from Arachanpan, as you know, from our comments on the verse, for your dew is the dew of lights. These lights were now, that is when he sinned, removed, and they returned to their source above. The numerical value for the word for dew, tal, 9 plus 30 is 39. The verse cited reads in full, may your dead come to life. May you proclaim, let my corpses arise. Wake, shout for joy, all you who rest in the dirt. For your dew is the dew of lights. May you cause the shirker, like a shirker, to fall. I guess, and that's the wicked, I guess. Thus the dew spoken of here is seen as an infusion of vitality. By which vitality, I'm having a hard time seeing. Oh, hold on a second. All right, more light. The infusion of vitality by which God will resurrect the dead. The removal of this dew from Adam robbed him of his immortality and brought death into the world.
Okay, number 5. Tehillim chapter 141 says, like the one who chops and splinters wood on the ground, our bones have been scattered to the entrance to the grave. This means after Adam sinned, the Satan steadily gained power. He increased his accusations and prosecutions against mankind. People could not withstand his temptations and enticements, and the world was about to collapse. I'm going to write heading for collapse. Hashem had compassion on the world and sent Avram, who recognized the Creator, and began to repair the world. It refers to Avram here as the Geza. That's like a tree stump or a shoot. Tree stump, a trunk, a stem, from which rebirth and new growth occurs. Okay, Jim, continue.
In the wake of Adam's sin, the power of evil began to steadily increase. And Satan, the personification of the evil inclination, began to regularly ascend to the heavenly court and accuse humanity of succumbing to him, and then descend and prosecute against them. This, the inner meaning of the verse, like one who chops and splinters wood on the ground, so have our bones been scattered to the entrance of the realm of death. The world was in the process of tottering and collapsing. No human being had the strength to stand firm against the temptation of sin and serve God in his good heart. And thus the world was about to collapse.
Okay, keep going.
The state of affairs continued until the Holy One, blessed be he, in his simple mercy, decided to have mercy on his creatures. And thus, the stem of righteousness emerged. Stem. Abraham, who recognized his creator, and then through Abraham's efforts, the world began to be rectified.
Okay, thanks. Number 6. The power of evil was still strong, and Avram could not complete the job to repair the world. Yishmael emerged from Abraham. Yitzchak continued the repair begun by Abraham, but likewise did not complete repairing the world. Esav emerged from Yitzchak. It was Yaakov who completed repairing the world of the damage by Adam. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so inasmuch as the power of evil was then ascendant, Abraham was not able to rectify the world completely, and therefore Ishmael issued from him. Afterward, Abraham's son Isaac arose out of the pure and holy side of Abraham, and Isaac continued to rectify evil, but could not uproot it completely. Thus, Esau issued from him. Finally, our father Jacob came and rectified the world completely of all the destruction wrought by Adam.
Okay, number 7. I think, one moment. We will now look at specific lines that connect the two events, that connect the sin in the Garden of Eden and connect the blessings from Yitzchak, that Yaakov received from Yitzchak. Yitzchak blessed Yaakov, may Hashem grant you the dew, tal, from heaven. This was to repair the 39 curses that resulted from the sin of Gan Eden and the loss of the 39 lights from Arich Anpin. Okay, so 39 is Lamed Tes, which spells the word tal, dew. So Yitzchak bless Yaakov, may Hashem give you the dew, tal, from heaven.
Mhm.
Okay, Jim, go ahead.
All right, so Yaakov said, why is the world collapsing? Because of the curses God pronounced when Adam sinned. I will replace the 39 curses with 39 blessings. Therefore, Isaac said to him, may God grant you from the dew of heaven. There are actually only 10 individual blessings in Isaac's blessing to Jacob. But since the first blessing is that of dew, and as we just saw, the numerical value for the word dew is 39, these blessings may be considered to be the counteraction of the 39 curses that resulted from Adam's sin. As we will soon see, the Arizal himself states that the blessings Jacob received from Isaac parallel only the curses pronounced against Adam and not those pronounced against Eve, the snake, or the earth. Presumably, this is because the curses that were directed at Adam were of a general nature, whereas those directed against the other three were specific. After all, many of Adam's curses apply to Eve as well.
Okay. All right. Number 8. Hashem cursed Adam, you will eat bread. So as I said in 7, we will now look at specific lines that connect the two events. 8. Hashem cursed Adam, you will eat bread by the sweat of your brow. Yitzchak blessed Yaakov with much grain and wine. So it's an abundance of produce. Gershon, please continue. Thus,
I'm not hearing Gershon.
Gershon, we can't hear you.
It's in Miami.
Now we hear you.
Yeah. Good. Hold on.
Now we can hear you now.
Book is in Miami, so I pass. I don't have the book to
His
read.
book, he left his book.
You don't bring your book
Hear
with
that?
you.
Hold on.
so
Abigail?
we'll just Gershon,
Yeah, I
you don't have the book?
He doesn't have a book.
Doesn't
I
have his
do
book.
not have the book.
He left it
Okay.
in Miami.
Okay, don't worry, you won't get punished. Okay, so Jim, why don't you continue?
I'll continue. Thus, the 39 lights of Erech Anpin once more shone from above to illuminate the world below by virtue of these blessings.
Okay, continue.
Jacob's blessings supplant Abraham's curses as follows. Adam was cursed. You will eat bread by the sweat of your brow. Jacob came and was blessed with grain and wine, that is, with ready and abundant sustenance.
Okay, number 9. Hashem cursed Adam, the earth will sprout thorns and thistles for you. Yitzchak blessed Yaakov from the dew of the heaven and the fat of the earth. This was a blessing that the crop that was planted would grow rather than lots of weeds and thistles mixed in with the crop. Go ahead, Jim.
In opposition to Adam's having been cursed, the earth will sprout thorns and thistles for you. Jacob came and was blessed from the dew of heaven and the fat of the earth, meaning that now the earth would produce its full measure of food crops rather than an admixture of food crops and weeds.
Okay, go ahead.
And so too, with all of them, you can figure out how Jacob's blessings correspond to Adam's curses if you will examine them one by one. The
Okay, thanks. Let's see what it says right number 10. Adam, we're going to go and look for more of these correlations between the two. Adam was persuaded to eat from the tree of knowledge by his wife. Rivka, on the other hand, Rivka convinced Yaakov to accept the blessings from Yitzchak. Her statement, "May your curse be upon me," could actually mean I, in an earlier reincarnation, or what's it called, transmigration or something, and the cause of the curses in Gan Eden. Hashem told Adam, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree, Rivka now said, listen to my voice, my son. And this we had exactly last week in Toldot chapter 4. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Okay, just want to finish up.
1173.
Yeah, the Arizal now demonstrates how Jacob rectified Adam's sin from another perspective as well. Furthermore, what was the cause of Adam's curse? It happened because his wife fed him some of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Here Jacob was blessed on account of a woman, that is his mother Rebekah, as it is written, "May your curse be upon me, my son," meaning, since I, as a woman, was the curse of your primordial
Cause
of your primordial curse when you were Adam, you must now be rectified by me. Thus, corresponding to what is written, he said to Adam, because you listened to your wife's voice, listen now, my son, to my voice.
Okay. 11. The downfall in Gan Eden was through food, the fruit of the tree of knowledge. The repair also came through food. The tasty foods Yitzchak asked Esav to bring, that Rivka prepared for Yaakov to bring Yitzchak instead of Esav. Okay, go ahead.
And since before as Adam, you came to your ruin through food, you must now be rectified through food. That is the tasty stew that I will prepare for Isaac. In place of the stew, Isaac asked Esau to prepare for him.
All right. Let's go up to 12. More correlations. The Torah says the woman saw that the tree was good for eating and desirous for the eyes, and the tree was cherished to understand. This is my translation. Now, and I'm trying to do it literally. Very often I take things out of the literal when I translate. Here I've pretty much followed literal. So the tree was cherished. The word is nechmad. Today in Israel, nechmad means cute, sweet, dear, cute. Rivka gave Yaakov Esav's garment to wear, about which it says, Rivka took the cherished garments of her older son Esav, hachamudot, same word. As explained at length in the text, these garments were of a sublime origin and originally belonged to Adam, and he lost them after eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge. We just saw, we're going to see that they were, that they belonged to Esav. Rivka kept them for Esav, and now she gave them to Yaakov to use. So that Yaakov would wear Esav, in the simple meaning, Yaakov's going to wear Esav's garment, and the feel of it, the smell of it, will have an impact on Yitzchak into believing that this actually is Esav. So we're in 1173. Abigail, would you like to continue regarding
Adam's first curse, i.e., that Adam's primordial garment was lost to him on account of his sin and fell into the hands of Nimrod, it was now returned to Jacob, and thus that curse was counteracted as well. This is alluded to in the phrase, the clothes of Esau, her older son, which were coveted by him and which he stole from Nimrod, which echoes the phrase, and Eve saw that the tree was covetable for the purpose of acquiring intellect. According to the Midrash, Esau's garments are described as covetable or coveted because they belonged to Nimrod before Esau, and Esau coveted them and murdered Nimrod in order to possess them. Assuming that Nimrod was born around the year 1966 AM, 30 years before 1996 AM, the year of the incident of the Tower of Babel, and the subsequent dispersion in which Nimrod played a major role. He would have been around 158 years old by the year 2123 AM, the year in which Jacob received Isaac's blessings, when Jacob and Esau were 15 years old. Where did Nimrod get these garments from? According to one source, they were the garments that God made for Adam and Eve when he banished them from the Garden of Eden. Noah brought these garments into the ark, and when they left the ark, his son Ham took them. Later, he gave them as an inheritance to Nimrod. According to one source, Adam bequeathed these garments to Enoch. Enoch bequeathed them to Methuselah. From Methuselah, they passed to Noah, and Ham stole them when they left the ark. Ham later gave them to his son Cush, who in turn gave them to his son.
Lost.
We lost
Hello.
you.
Hello.
Abigail, we lost you.
Lost you.
Abigail, we can't hear you. I
Mute.
think she can hear us either.
Oh.
We lost you after,
After all that text.
no,
No.
Start from Ham, the three lines from the bottom.
Oh,
to his
okay.
son Nimrod.
So Ham later gave them to his son Cush.
Yes.
Yeah, keep going.
Sorry guys, I need to move my laptop to a different room next week. Who in turn gave them to his son Nimrod when the latter was 20 years old? The Arizal apparently does not follow this source, since he states that these garments were Adam's original ones, not the ones that God made for him when he banished him from the Garden of Eden. According to other sources, these garments were the priestly garments that God originally made for Adam. Noah inherited them and passed them on to Shem, who passed them on to Abraham, who passed them on to Isaac, who passed them on to Esau. The Arizal apparently does not follow these sources either, since he states that Esau took these garments from Nimrod. According to yet another source, these were the garments that God originally made for Adam and Eve, and that he commanded them to remove them after the primordial sin. Adam bequeathed these garments to Seth. Seth bequeathed them to Enoch, Enoch to Noah, Noah to Shem, Shem to Eber, and Nimrod fought Eber for them and took them. The Arizal apparently follows this source, since it both describes the garments as Adam's original ones and eventually coming into Nimrod's possession. By wresting these garments from Esau, by wresting these garments from Esau, who acquired them by coveting, Jacob rectified Eve's sin of coveting the effect she thought eating the fruit would have. Another story, after Jacob received the blessings from Isaac, we are told that Jacob buried the garments since he knew that Esau was not worthy of wearing them.
Okay, thank you. So there you have it on the garments. Okay, 13. At the blessings, Yitzchak praised the scent of Yaakov like the scent of the field with which he was blessed by Hashem. Rashi says, one moment. Hey, what happened there?
Here you go.
I don't know where that went. Let me.
It's right there. Where are you going?
Hey, Rashi says the scent of Gan Eden accompanied Yaakov to Yitzchak. The Arizal adds that the scent was carried by the garments that originated in Gan Eden, which had belonged to Esav and were given by were given to Yaakov by Rivka. So the idea of the scent, Rashi mentions here, he adds that the scent came from the garments. Okay, go ahead, Abigail.
Okay. This is also the meaning of the verse. Behold, my son's fragrance is like the fragrance of the field blessed by God. Rashi states on this verse that when Jacob entered Isaac's tent, the fragrance of the Garden of Eden entered with him. According to the sages, this is because Jacob was wearing Esau, Nimrod's, Adam's garments, upon which the scent of the Garden of Eden still rested.
Okay, 14. The Talmud says Yaakov's appearance was similar to Adam's appearance. This actually means that Yaakov completed the repairs of the damage of Adam.
Adam.
Not Abraham.
No.
Adam. Okay, go ahead, Abigail.
Okay. Am I at it thus follows?
Yes.
I don't know where I am. It thus follows that everything that was damaged by Adam was rectified by Jacob. This is the meaning of our sage's statement that the beauty of Jacob was similar to the beauty of Adam, which alludes to all that we have said. Also, what is implied by the phrase, he smelled the fragrance of his garments and blessed him, meaning that Isaac blessed Jacob because of the garments, whose glow now returned to them, as is known. Despite the fact that these garments originated in the Garden of Eden, they exuded the fragrance of the garden only when Jacob donned them. Since Jacob was the rectification of Adam, only he could actualize the atmosphere of the Garden of Eden that still clung to these garments. Isaac was thus inspired to bless Jacob because of the presence of Garden of Eden that he sensed was accompanying him, which indicated that through these blessings, the sin of Adam would be able to be finally and fully rectified. Of course, the world did not return to its original pristine state as soon as Isaac blessed Jacob. All that is meant here is that by receiving these blessings, Jacob became Isaac's official successor and was invested with the power to become the progenitor of the Jewish people who would eventually receive the Torah at Mount Sinai, at which point the effect of Adam's sin would indeed be neutralized. As we have seen previously, at the giving of the Torah, the Jewish people returned to Adam's spiritual state before the primordial sin, and had they not committed the sin of the golden calf, they would have remained at that level and become immortal, etc. It now remains for us to complete the rectification process by hastening the arrival of the Messiah, who will redeem the world and bring it to a spiritual level exceeding even that of the Garden of Eden before Adam's sin.
And that's that.
That's the whole story.
It's all in the script.
What?
I said it's all in the script. From beginning to end, it's all in the script.
So
What I'm saying is,
All
understand,
about, sorry, it was all about the jacket.
what I'm saying is that this was, there wasn't a, we don't have a whole lot of choice. Let me put it that way.
I wish you get to the end already.
We don't have a whole lot of choice, as I
Middle's
said.
killing me.
Yeah, no.
free will is overrated.
Free will is way overrated. Yes.
Yeah. So Chaim, are we to take the word garment literally, or are we to understand it to be like a klippah?
Good
Ask
question.
me again.
Are we to take the word garment literally, or are we to understand it as klippah?
These garments were holiness, pure holiness. Maybe in when they were in, I'm gonna say they were holiness, very godly. They carried the scent of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, but in a literal sense of the word garment, or in the metaphysical sense? You're saying in the metaphysical sense.
No, the physical garment. The physical garment carried a metaphysical component.
Were these garments were made after the primordial sin?
That's what it said at the bottom of 1173 and 1174. There are different midrashim, exactly what the source of the garments from. According to one, they were made by Hashem when he banished Adam and Eve from Gan Eden. According to other sources, I guess they were originally made for Adam before the sin of the Garden of Eden.
So if they
They
were
were
banished,
priestly
if they
garments.
were banished from Gan Eden, why would it carry the scent of Gan Eden?
Why would he what?
Why would the garments carry the scent of Gan Eden if they were banished?
Because that's where they came from. The garments, the Torah says that Hashem made the garments out of the fig leaves. So they
Yeah,
were made, they originated in Gan Eden.
but before the so before the sin, they were naked and not ashamed.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
sorry.
Well,
Unless-
they
Are you asking a question or you're making a statement?
The
I'm making a
Shlach
statement.
makes a
and
reference to
it says
first the word light, and I don't know,
I mean-
it's not or, correct? It's a different word, and then that word goes into leather. Do you remember that from the Shlach?
well, in actuality, they
translucence more than
they wore a garment of keratin, and the only remnant is our nails, which is
Yeah.
left from that. And
Yes.
translucent. They were translucent.
translucent.
There are differences of opinions exactly what it was. One of
Naturally.
them is the keratin,
Yeah.
okay, like nail.
Mhm.
The here, these garments now that Yaakov wore when he went to Yitzchak, where did they come from? Are these the garments that Hashem made for Adam and Chava after the sin, made of the nail material? Was it for them to wear before the sin in the Garden of Eden? There are differences of opinion. There are different midrashim that say different things. According to what we read on 1174, one source says that Hashem originally made for Adam and Chava, and then after the primordial sin, he told them to remove these garments. They weren't worthy to wear them anymore.
But they
So
kept
different
them.
midrashim that of where the garments now that Yaakov is wearing, of where they came from.
So they had to remove them, but they kept them in their possession.
According to this, yes.
I still don't understand how they could be naked and not ashamed. If when therefore a man he shall leave his and cleave unto his wife. They were naked and not ashamed. It's in the pasuk before the sin.
Yeah.
So if they're naked, how could it be a garment? I don't know.
How could they be clothed if they were naked?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
They had garments for, like, when they went to Walmart or something.
Well,
You have animals. The animal has no shame and walks around without clothes.
mhm.
But sometimes you put clothes on the animal. You have a little chihuahua. You take him out in winter. You got to put a sweater on him.
Yeah, but the garment in the literal sense of the word only became important after the banishment.
After the sin.
Because
Yeah.
prior to the sin, they had this translucent shell around them, and the only remnant of that is the nail.
That's the garment, though. That's the garment that
That
they.
was a different garment. That's why I'm asking, when you said the word garment that was passed down from this one to that one, is it in the literal sense of the word that it was an actual garment, like this, a garment? that they
Yes.
wore? Yes, okay. So prior
Yes.
to the primordial sin, it was a different form. It was the shell that they had, a translucent shell.
Who said it was before the sin? Maybe it was after the sin.
If you take the interpretation, one of the interpreters says it's before, you have to deal with the question of their nakedness. That's all I'm saying.
So they could put on something else?
Well, I think,
Put on a hat.
Is this the only garment in creation?
but as we know from past experiences, that every word of the Torah has multiple meanings.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah,
metaphor,
I'm sure that,
and it can mean something completely different.
But sometimes yes, absolutely. But sometimes even in the simple meaning, especially in Medrash, we have different
Interpretation.
traditions, different understandings, and interpretations.
yeah,
Right.
don't deny God his physicality that he worked so hard to make, right?
That's only like Rashi if you initially go after the pshat, right? And there's more.
Rashi brings down two Medrash about the garments that Hashem made for them in the Garden of Eden when he threw them out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First of all, it says that they took fig leaves.
Mhm.
They sewed fig leaves. And they made belts out of them.
Mhm.
The Hashem made for them, it says, garments of skin. And on that, Rashi mentions two explanations. One is what you mentioned, Rudy, that it was a nail-like material. And the other one is that it was made out of animal fur,
Mhm.
animal skin, or animal fur. So it was soft and comfortable and warm.
Mhm.
Okay, then the Medrash, or different Medrashes, tell of different stories of the garments that Yaakov wore going into Yaakov. And either it was garments that were made before the sin in the Garden of Eden, or garments that were made after the sin in the Garden of Eden.
Mhm.
Okay, but these are different valid explanations. Whether the first, what garments did Hashem make for them in the Garden of Eden, and then what's the origin of the garments or what's not just the origin, but the origin and how it came from Adam, how it reached Esav and then Yaakov.
Okay.
Okay, is that helpful? But just because they went naked doesn't mean that they didn't own a suit. If they went to a wedding or something, or bar mitzvah, they weren't going to go without clothes.
Who wore their birthday suit?
That's for the house.
That's the house.
Okay.
Okay.
No comment.
Yeah.
That's for
no
doing
comment.
yard work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So yard work.
Aye. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
Very
Right.
good. Thank
very
you.
good.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Nothing incidental. So I
Nothing.
printed out just that page from the book of Sioni. It's amazing what you can do on the computer. I printed out, now it's in my book.
Okay,
In 6 or 7 years, I'll have the page.
Okay.
I
very
won't have to
good.
go looking for it again. Actually, so I came across it somewhere else. It's actually a connection to Purim. So that's how I knew where to find it. And that was my key to be able to look it up. So in case I need that, I have this. Because I looked it up 2 or 3 years ago. Okay.
Okay,
Rabbi, how do you know when to trust something like that? The Book of Sioni. How do you know?
It is well, if I opened up a book that's published in the 20th century, and they wrote things that are far out, and things that are questionable, I would have questions on it. This is several hundred years old, and it is quoted by other reliable books.
Yeah.
For example, the Arizal, he doesn't mention it specifically, but I did see it in the Shalah. Shalah refers to it specifically. And so, a lot of these books are known to us. Like I've heard about them, if I haven't actually seen it.
Okay.
So most books are reliable. Question is when you see some stuff with very questionable things. There's a book of Midrashim. We talked about a number of times on this. And our class came up some of the legends of Lilith.
mhm,
And some of those you'll find a lot of information on. Some of the legends you can find mentioned a lot or referenced a lot on online through a Google search. And it seems that the origins are not reliable. And in fact, I was in correspondence with Rabbi Wisniewski a few months ago, because I don't know if you know, I'm 4 years ago on a trip to Israel, after the students from school, after they were put to bed, I ran over at 11:30. I ran over to his house. He was just pulling in from the office, and we sat and had a nice talk for an hour or so. It was I think 5 or 7 minutes from the hotel. And I mentioned to him some things about that when he referring to Lilith, and he agreed with me that there's certain things that are legends about Lilith that are not from Jewish sources.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really learned much about Lilith because it seems like it's from all over the place. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, everybody. Happy Passover.
Chag Sameach.
Bye.
Lots of
Bye-bye.
matzah.